Good morning, gang. Joyce with Skipping Calves Farms here. It's early-ish in the morning. I've already set up fencing and let the sheep out and clean things up in their sheepfold and open them up to this strip here. I'm back fencing now. I'm back fencing because I don't want them grazing back in this area. Because they've been on that for a while. And as you can see, it's getting kind of what I'll call tumbleweed looking because they've gone after the forbs pretty heavy. And we are now coming out of cold and back into warm. So those forbs are going to be growing back. And what you don't want is them to come in and graze it short, let it grow just a tiny little bit, and graze again, because that's when a plant is really going to be at its weakest. Because as you cut it short on the top, its roots are going to be cut back on the bottom. And let's just watch the family while I'm talking. So, guys, you don't want to eat those willows. Those willows are kind of bitter. Yeah, they've not had access to this prior. Mama and daughter have. And I don't really like it when they walk through the willows. But I decided not to try and fence them out. From a time standpoint and an equipment standpoint. And I figured they've got all of this to graze fresh. They've not had access. This is new access to this area in a while. So, the big guys, look at that little girl. She's chewing on a piece of wood. Let's see if we can get a little closer. Playing with a piece of wood bark. But we do have visitors next door that have been unfriendly. It took me quite a while to get Mom to bring the kids into the sheepfold last night. Something happened that's never happened before. And that is I literally had to close off all of the fencing out to their grazing areas in order to get them to come into the sheepfold. She would come up to the sheepfold and then look over there and then balk and head back out. So she's the sheep that got injured last summer when one of their dogs came over. Now the fold was closer to the side of the property, and you can see she's going in. She's taking a couple quick bites, and then she'll move on to the next piece of grass. Or forbs is what she's going on to now. So now where you can see the white post and the reel behind them, that is also a hot fence. And over here where the other T-posts are, that's my 3D fence that goes around the garden. All of that is hot. So they are contained outside of the garden, and there's a 5-wire fence around the garden itself. So the lambs can't get into the garden, and the 2 wires that are around that little willow orchard there are at heights that they're probably not going to go under, and they're probably not going to go over. They're not going to go over, and they probably aren't going to go through. But they're still young enough too that they're not going to stay away from Mom for too long. And so that's kind of what I'm banking on. Look at that little bugger. Chewing on the wood. My goodness. They were running and skipping around just a minute ago, and that's so much fun to watch. So that's why we're here. We're going to be here probably. There is enough forage here in this area for them for today and tomorrow. I generally like to try and give them a little bit bigger area for the weekends. Rubbing up against those willows. I trimmed those all down here within the last week or so. Well, you can tell which one's the brother, can't you? Hi, guys. What you doing? What you doing? Yeah? You coming over to say hi? Or you just gonna play with the one piece of broom sedge I didn't get weed eated the other day? Yeah? Go for it, guys. Go for it. Now, a couple of things that you can tell about the two. Daughter is here on the left, and the little man's over here on the right. He's what, a couple inches bigger now. You gonna let me give you my hand? Yeah? You're not sure about my hand, are you? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Come on. Yeah. Off they go. So, daughter is on the left, brother is on the right. He's a couple inches taller. He has white hooves. She has black hooves. She's got freckles on her face, and she's got brown spots on her lower back hocks. And that's how I tell those two apart, principally. But as you can see, he's still quite a bit bigger than she is. It's as pronounced, if not more, than when they were first born. But he was the firstborn, and usually the firstborn is going to be the bigger of the two lambs. But this is a morning with the family, and so it's been about 10 days. They're about 10 days old, so Monday to Saturday. Monday to Monday is 7, Tuesday's 8, Wednesday's 9, Thursday's 10, Friday's 11. Oh, it's 12 days. They're 12 days old. And Mama is just now finally starting to dry up from any kind of, what do they call it, locosia or something like that, discharge, postpartum discharge. So she's finally starting to dry up. She's still real kind of dirty looking at her tail, and that's because it's dried on her. But discharge started to clear up a couple of days ago, and the last discharge that I saw was mostly kind of a milky a milky discharge. So I was kind of concerned as a first time lambing, but some friends helped out in terms of I didn't have a way to kind of catch her and hold her in place when we realized she was in labor and she wasn't getting on with it. And that's when I had to glove up and reach in and get him out. He was being presented, he just was catching on his shoulder and wasn't coming out. Plus he was a pretty big little boy even then. When I'm talking on the videos, usually the sheep like my voice, you know. It's kind of biblical. The sheep hear my voice, and they trust the shepherd. And that seems to be pretty true. And anyway, so this is how my Saturday morning got started. We're doing the fencing and then bringing them out here. I got out to an early start because I wanted to make sure I was out before the dogs were next door, which I was, and they are out now. But it's time to get the birds out and get on with the rest of my chores. And so, little critters, whether they're little people or little animals, just are such a joy to watch. Because they don't really worry about anything because they know Mama and Daddy are going to take care of them. And, there's a lot going on right now that's scary and unsettling. And I make no bones about my faith. And my life has been changed by the power of the love of Jesus Christ. And, when that happens, it's like being a little child. It's not like being childish. It's like being childlike. Because my Father owns the cattle on 1,000 hills. And now who do I need to fear? And so I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm doing what I can. And I'm just not going to get all caught up. Observe, Purpurea, the Appalachian's Home Stead uses this phrase. She says, observe, but don't absorb. And so I'm keeping track of what's going on and doing the best I can with what I got, with the resources that I have. But I'm not going to get all caught up in all that crazy town. All that does is paralyze and depress. And like I say, my Father owns the cattle on 1,000 hills. And I probably need a whole lot less than most Americans think we need. But all my needs will be met, one way or another. So with that, gang, I will show you the young ones, the new family. Can you tell which one's which? Okay, cat's out the bag. Little girl still got her mouth full of wood. She's the one closest to us. And the little boy's over there playing with the beehives. And those beehives stacks are strapped down, so they should be fine. Even if they do get a bit rambunctious. So gang, I wish you blessings for the day, and whatever you do, just keep chasing the dream.